I have to introduce myself again.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So try as much as possible to look over there.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the first maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Afterwards, because I know one I think I was going to go. Alright, so my man, introduce yourself.
Alright. My government name is Thato. That's it, dog. That's it.
Okay, Thato.
I have no special talents. Just an ordinary individual.
You say so.
Yeah.
Okay, so dog, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, right?
Okay.
But the first one is going to be, when I told you what the name of my podcast is going to be, what did you think? Like, what did you think I was going to be asking you about?
What is it called? Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah.
Right? What did I think? I thought maybe you're going to ask about situations that a guy has gone through that has led to them crying. That's what I thought at first. But then I was like, spontaneous, so I don't know. But that's the first thought that came to my mind.
And what did you think about that? Like, did you think that was something that, I don't know, did you think it was something that needed to be talked about? Kind of, you were just like participating because you're my friend?
But boys don't cry. It's very necessary because we as guys tend to bottle in our emotions, and we find it very hard to express ourselves and all those things. So yeah, man, I'm your friend. That's also part of it. but it's very important for us to express ourselves.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think I appreciate that.
Mm.
I think the one thing that really, I don't know if I should say inspired this happy, is that when you talk about crying as a guy, there's a certain level of vulnerability that comes with it.
Of course.
So I'm going to ask you a very tough one. I hope you can answer as transparently as you possibly can.
Okay.
But when was the last time you cried? And if you don't mind sharing, why was it? Like, what caused you? Why were you crying?
I don't cry much, to be honest. Okay, let me tell you the first time I ever cried. First time I ever cried was for some girl, right? So we were dating on and off. I was young. I was in Form 3 at the time. Form 4, actually. This was 2013. So me and this girl, I felt like I was in love. I felt like love at that time, which it probably was. So we broke up, and then I started seeing this girl with another guy. But every time we broken up, like we'll still be together. I know this person is mine, this person is mine. I'm this person's person as well. So yeah. So I see this girl with a new guy in school now. I want her attention, all those things. I was getting hurt, but I was bottling in the emotions, right? And then it came to a point where I just felt like I needed to talk to her. Dog. Started raining, cats and dogs there. Hey, what a lame boy.
Yeah.
And then she also started crying, so I had to stop to comfort her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first time. The last time it wasn't really crying per se, but it was a thing of, I was watching this video of some guy giving a homeless guy money and helping a homeless guy, and I felt like, that was quite an emotional thing for me to cry over. So that was the last time I cried. Yeah, but I haven't cried over, like, I don't know, like, really. It's very difficult for me to get there. But yeah.
Okay, I feel you. So a lot of the time when things like this happen, especially one with a girl or any other situation that makes you cry because to a certain degree you're feeling pain, People always say you should cry because like you feel relief afterwards, or you get like a weight lifted off your shoulders. Is there something that in the few times that you have cried, did you feel anything that happened to you, Kana? It's not something that you have personally experienced.
I wouldn't really say me crying has helped in any formal way. It was just the thing of, I felt like with the girl, I felt like I needed to talk to her. And then the crying was just the side effect of probably how I was feeling at the time. But majority of the time, the reason why I don't cry is because I always find the light somehow, some way. And I always talk to myself in a way to comfort myself and view things from a different perspective. Maybe that's why I don't cry much. I think that's why.
Do you feel like it's because you don't dwell on whatever is making you feel pain?
Yeah. And I always think like, when something happens, it probably happens for a reason. I might not know what the reason is at that point in time, but over time then I'll come back to it and be like, or maybe that's why this thing happened, or this thing led to this thing, and you know what I mean. So yeah.
Okay. So you can't. How do you remember feeling after crying, like after your conversation with her?
Well, it's a thing of you're fixating it too much on crying, but my situation wasn't necessarily on how I felt after crying. It was how I felt after having the conversation with the person.
So you don't relate whatever feeling you had afterwards with crying?
Nah.
It's just about the fact that you needed to let something
Yeah,
out.
that was it, honestly.
Okay, this is interesting. I've never... Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so I think maybe now I can ask you about... Because I remember the first question was about what you thought about when I told you I was going to ask you about the topic was boys don't cry. What do you think now, after the conversation we had before we started recording, and after the small conversation we just had right now, what do you think about boys don't cry? Do you think that's necessary? Do you think, like, crying, not just the topic? Because I feel like the reason why I'm dwelling on the word crying is because I know you know the last time I cried.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying because I was in pain. It was the tears of joy or what.
Yeah.
And before that, the last time I cried because of pain, and it was like maybe 3 years ago. But between that 3 years ago and that time when you saw me, there were moments where I felt like I needed to cry, and I can't even explain why I feel like I felt that way. But I know I felt that way, but it didn't happen. So that's why I'm dwelling on the crying thing, because I feel like I haven't yet fully understood where I'm supposed to look. Should I say where I'm supposed to look at? Yeah, because I still feel like those times where I needed to cry. Even now I still need to cry because of those emotions that I was feeling at that time. But it's never happened. So I just want to know if you feel like it's a therapeutic thing. I know it might be a difficult question to answer because one night has never happened to you in that way.
Yeah.
But just from what you've seen, what you've heard from other people in our conversation, do you think that's something that's necessary, or it's just whatever?
Yeah, I think it is. Like from the people that I've talked to, it seems like them crying over something that has hurt them or that they feel a bit of joy over releases the tension from their body. So it's very essential. I mean, personally, I don't cry. I don't see it as
that big of a deal.
But yeah, so.
Okay, so if we were to have somebody who doesn't share the same sentiments as you, like who doesn't believe what a man or a boy is somebody who should cry, they should just toughen up and do whatever, what do you think you would have to say to that person as far as trying to... I don't want you to try and convince anyone to cry, but because like you're saying, there's certain people you've talked to and what after crying they felt some sort of relief. Is there anything you'd like to say to someone who maybe feels like they don't need to cry because they are a guy, just not what guys should do?
I wouldn't really say so, eh? The kind of thing is how I think about relieving the pain is that you first need to be honest with whatever you're crying over, or see it from a different light to avoid crying. Because I don't feel like crying, not personally, I don't feel like crying is a stress reliever. You knowing what the thing is what releases the tension. So crying is just a side effect of how you're probably feeling at the time. You know what I mean? And because you're uncertain about something, or maybe something feels kind of weird, or it's the first time you experience it. Like, for example, the time you were crying over whatever you cried over, right? Being overwhelmed with emotions. It's just a side effect of how you were feeling. That's how I think. But to guys who feel like, I guess guys, because I don't cry much. To us, I feel like maybe if we were to try it, would understand the sense of relief that other people feel. Maybe if we were to try it. So, but I don't know, bro. How do you get yourself to cry? That's the other thing. When you've programmed yourself for when this is how you deal with your shit, or when this is how you express.
I don't think you're necessarily supposed to get yourself to cry, because that's not what I'm trying to do. Or in your situation, you cried as a side effect. It just happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to cry. It just happened because of the circumstances that I was in. But people, I feel like, do sometimes, especially guys, try to restrain themselves from crying. And maybe from where I'm standing, that's why certain things are not dealt with properly, or they don't release tension. About some of the people you have talked to have found relief from crying. And I think maybe if guys weren't trying to restrain themselves, unless it works, if it works for you the way you deal with it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you feel like it's not working and you're doing the same thing over and over again but nothing's changing, I feel like maybe there should be something you should try differently. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying sometimes we restrain ourselves, but if we just let it happen, something would happen.
Like I said, though, I think I'm fixated on it being a side effect. It's Tatala. This crying thing, nah, I don't know, though. Is it if when in your personal experiences, every time you cried over, let's say, something that has hurt you, have you felt a sense of relief, or
I think maybe to a certain degree, now I was even in the sense that I don't cry a lot. But the few times that I have cried, I didn't feel relief every time.
Okay.
Sometimes the same way as you, just the fact that I was talking about something, not dealing with it eternally, like it's a receive internally. That's where the relief came from. But there was a particular time I remember where I did cry, and the relief came after crying. And I wasn't crying because I was talking; I was just crying on my own. And then the following morning, I felt I felt lighter. You know, I didn't feel as burdened as I did the night before. So I don't necessarily think.
So I think it's a thing of the reason why you probably felt better was because of the thoughts you had. It wasn't necessarily because you cried, because you're like you're saying, there are instances where you've cried, but you still felt the same way after crying. So, like you're shaking a bottle, and then a bottle of champagne. Obviously, it's gonna pop because too much tension is there. That's the side effect of you shaking the bottle. So, lo in the hell, because now your thoughts around whatever you were crying over or whatever was hurting you, it sort of seems like you've provided some answers for yourself, or you've provided a way of thinking around that thing, that it doesn't hurt as much. But when you don't have a way of thinking, or because you're too fixated on that problem, eventually then it will lead to probably you crying. That's how I think. So yeah.
Zuri, I think I'm starting to realize how different everyone is. Because when you start listening to the episodes, your episode number 3, Yawan had a completely different way of dealing with this. Tab's different. You, I appreciate this. It's because I'm learning a lot from this experience. But I think that's it for today.
Alright.
Laila,
I know we didn't start. I didn't start with that. Hey, yo, what's good? What's popping? I didn't start with that shit, dog. I should have. But anyway, I hope whoever's gonna watch this finds a bit of value in it, or actually a lot of value in it. And yeah, man. Kana Lucy Durata was spontaneous, so I was just talking out of my head. I didn't prepare anything. So yeah, peace out to everyone. Hey, peace out to Mandy. Hey, who's there? Who's
Alright, no, thank you, dog. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your feelings, your everything, because I am really finding value, and like you said, I hope other people find value from this as well. So yeah, peace. Thank you guys for listening and / watching. Hope you guys join us, or me, or whoever, for the next episode. Peace.